Good morning, children. This is Imran sir, and see today I am teaching you a very important topic of your syllabus, that is my childhood. See, this chapter has been taken from an autobiography of Mr. Kalam, that is Wings of Fire, which got published in the year 1999. And in this chapter, we will study about his childhood and how he faced discrimination in the classroom, and how his science teacher, helped him in overcoming those kind of problem, and moreover, what kind of friends he had, and what was the thinking of his parents about himself. His parents think that no, like you come from us, but you are not our child, but you are the child of the whole world. It was the thinking of his parents. So these all things we will come to know after reading this chapter. So let me start this chapter paragraph wise. I am going to read out the first paragraph and then I will explain this paragraph in detail. I like this one. First I will read the first one, then second, and like this I will finish this whole chapter. Let us start. I was born into a middle class Tamil family in the island town of Rameswaram in the erstwhile Madras state. My father, General Abdin, who had neither much formal education nor much wealth, despite this disadvantages, he possessed great innate wisdom and a true generosity of spirit. He had an ideal helpmate in my mother, Asiyama. I do not recall the exact number of people she fed every day, but I am quite certain that far more outsiders ate with us than all the members of our family put together. In this paragraph, we learn that Mr. Kalam's father family was an average family. His family belongs to a middle class family. He was not very rich, not very poor. Like he belonged to a very middle class family, and his place of residence or his native place was Rameswaram in the state Madras, erstwhile and present time Tamil Nadu. His father's name was General Abdin, who had not any kind of formal education, like we studied class 10th, 12th, graduation, MA, like this. But he did not get any kind of formal education, but rather he had some different education, and he was a Maulvi. For your kind information I am telling you, he was a Maulvi in a mosque. He used to preach religion, like he used to help the people in offering namaz in a mosque. And he was a very wise fellow. His mother's name was Asiyama, who was a very helpful lady for his father. And one thing more is added here, that the people from outside who ate at his home were outnumbering the members of his family. Suppose if there are 10 members in his family, then more than 10 people from outside ate regularly at his home. It was a kind of very noble gesture, and these things hints us that his family was very social. He was very much focused about the betterment of society. I was one of many children, a short boy with rather undistinguished looks, born to tall and handsome parents. We lived in our ancestral house, which was built in the middle of 19th century. It was fairly a large pakka house made of limestone and brick on the Mosque Street in Rameswaram. My austere father used to avoid all inessential comforts and luxuries. However, all necessities were provided for in terms of food, medicine or clothes. In fact, I would say mine was a very secure childhood, both materially and emotionally. In this paragraph, we learn that he had many siblings. Mr. Kalam had many siblings, and he was a short boy. His physique was not so much attractive, like he was short in height, and his parents were tall and handsome. His house was located at Mosque Street in Rameswaram. There is a town called Rameswaram, and in Rameswaram there is a place called Mosque Street. At that place, his house was located. His house was a pakka, fairly large house. It was not a hut kind of things. It was somewhat brick built. And his father was a very religious fellow. He was a pious soul. He was a very austere fellow, and he used to avoid all kind of luxuries. Luxury here means that if you can fulfill your need by wearing a shirt costing 500 rupees, what is the need of wearing a shirt costing 1000 rupees? So he was very much careful about all those things. That is what this paragraph tells. us. And moreover, whatever the necessities were required, whatever the things that were required for the welfare of his children, he gave. Mr. Kam's father provided all those things in terms of money and other things. And that is why his childhood was very caring, it was very sound, like it was materially and emotionally very sound. It simply means that whatever the money Mr. Kalam demanded, it was given, and how much love was required from Mr. Kalam, it was given by his father. The Second World War broke out in 1939 when I was 8 years old. Mr. Kalam was only 8 years old when the Second World War broke out. For reasons I have never been able to understand, a sudden demand of tamarind seeds erupted in the market. I used to collect the seeds and sell them to a provision shop on Mosque Street. A day's collection would fetch me the princely sum of 1 anna. My brother-in-law Jalaluddin would tell me stories about the war, which I would later attempt to trace in headlines in Dinamani. Our area, being isolated, was completely unaffected by the war. But soon India was forced to join the Allied forces, and something like a state of emergency was declared. The first casualty came in the form of suspension of train halt at Rameswaram station. The newspapers now had to be bundled and thrown out from the moving train on the Rameswaram road between Rameswaram and Dhanushkodi. That forced my cousin Samsuddin, who distributed newspapers in Rameswaram, to look for a helping hand to catch the bundles, and as if naturally I feel the slot. Samsuddin helped me earn my first wages. Half a century later, I can still feel the surge of pride in earning my own money for the first time. See, when this fellow, Mr. Kalam, was 8 years old, the Second World War broke out. It got started. And during that period of time, a sudden demand of tamarind seed surged up. It went up, and that is why he started collecting the tamarind seed. Generally, children are very much greedy. Like if one child is going to the market and earning some money by collecting something like tamarind seed, the other would follow him. So this was the case with Mr. Kalam also. So he used to collect some seeds and he used to sell at a shop, and he used to earn some anna. Anna means some 25 paise or some nearby 50 paise that day. And by this he was very happy. And the effect of this war was felt in his hometown also. There was a railway station called Rameswaram railway station, and at that place the train services, the train stoppages were disturbed, and trains were not stopping at that particular place. And that is why his brother-in-law, whose name was Samsuddin, he used to sell the newspapers, and for that he needed somebody to help him, because the train were not halting at that place, and he had to bundle up and throw it out of the gate of the train. So he took the help of Mr. Kalam. Mr. Kalam cooperated him, and by this he earned his first wages. And in the paragraph he said that after half a century later, means 50 years after earning his first wage, he is feeling pride. It simply means that man believed in himself. He wanted to become self-dependent, and whatever the work he did, he was feeling pride in his work. These sentences tells us one thing, gives us one message, that if you are devoted towards your work and if you feel pride, then for you no work is shorter, no work is a menial job, or no work is very high level job. So this is what in the third paragraph. Now come on to the fourth paragraph. Every child is born with some inherited characteristics into a specific socio-economic and emotional environment, and trained in certain ways by figures of authority. I inherited honesty and self-discipline from my father. From my mother, I inherited faith in goodness and deep kindness, and so did my 3 brothers and sisters. I had 3 close friends in my childhood, Ramananda Shastri, Arvindan, and Shiva Prakasam. All these boys were from Orthodox Hindu Brahmin families. As children, none of us ever felt any differences among ourselves because of our religious differences and upbringing. In fact, Ramananda Shastri, who was the son of Pakshi Lakshmana Shastri, the high priest of the Rameswaram temple, later he took over the priesthood of Rameswaram temple from his father. Arvindam went into the business of arranging transport for visiting pilgrims, and Shiva Prakasam became a catering contractor for the Southern Railway. See, in this paragraph, Mr. Kalam says that every child learns some qualities from his parents. There are some inborn qualities. into any child, and same was the case with Mr. Kalam also. He had some inborn qualities, and he learned this quality from his parents. He learned from his mother faith in goodness and deep kindness, and from his father he learned honesty and self-discipline. Means his father was self-disciplined fellow and very honest fellow. So these two qualities he learned from his father, and his mother was a very kind lady, and she always had faith in good things. So these all qualities were got transferred from his parents into himself. So he had all these kind of qualities, and during his childhood he had three close friends who were Rama Shastri, Arvindan, and Shiva Prakasam. And these all children were from different kind of family, from different kind of religions, and the all kind of differences were not coming in the way of having friendship. These all children were very happy, and in fact, this fellow, Mr. Shastri, was the son of the head priest. See, one was a head priest and one was a Maulvi, and their children are sitting together. They are studying together. This is a true example of what to say, unity. This is true. This is an example of showing our understanding of a true India. This is the things which tells us that come what may, the people of India, here there is no any kind of religious segregation there. The people are very happy. First of all, we are human beings. After that, we have our own religious identities. These three friends were very close, and they had no any kind of ill will against anybody. And this fellow, Ramana Shastri, his father was the priest. He took over the priesthood from his father, and the second friend, Arvindam, went into the business of arranging transport for visiting pilgrims. Like he was working as a cab, like Ola cab be there in today's scenario, like in Delhi, in the bigger cities of India, Ola cab be there. So during those days, he became a master of so many transport resources, and he used to help the people to visit the temples. And Shiva Prakasam joined railways for supplying food. He became a food contractor, catering contractor for Southern Railway. He was a contractor for the food in Southern Railway. So he had three friends. One became a priest, the other became a manager for arranging transport facilities for the pilgrims, and the third became a food contractor or a catering contractor for the Southern Railway. During the annual Sri Sita Rama Kalyanam ceremony, our family used to arrange boats with a special platform for carrying idols of the Lord from the temple to the marriage site situated in the middle of pond called Rama Tirtha, which was near our house. Events from the Ramayana and from the life of Prophet were the bedtime stories my mother and grandmother would tell the children in our family. See, this line tells us that how generous, how secular his family was. In his family, though he was a Muslim fellow, but Ramayana stories, Mahabharata stories were stories which were told by his grandmother, by his mother. Those fellows were very kind. They had great respect for all the scriptures as well. And there was a ceremony called Sitaram Kalyanam ceremony. During that ceremony, his family used to arrange boats for the smooth journey, for the smooth visiting of the idol, like the family members of people from far-flung areas who used to gather there. He used to help them in visiting those idols and taking prayers and taking praying at the site and taking blessings from the God. So this is what his family was, and this is what in his family the people were taught, that one should not do any kind of harm to the other religion. One should have respect for the religion of other people also. One day, when I was in the 5th standard at the Rameswaram Elementary School, a new teacher came to our class. I used to wear a cap which marked me as a Muslim, and I always sat in front row next to Ramanand Sastry, who wore the sacred thread. The new teacher could not stomach a Hindu priest son sitting with a Muslim boy. In accordance with our social ranking, as the new teacher saw it, I was asked to go and sit in the back bench. I felt very sad and sorry. Ramanand Sastry, he looked utterly downcast as I shifted to my seat in the last row. The image of him weeping when I shifted to the last row left a lasting impression on me. This is a very moving line. Like these children were studying in a school, and a new teacher joined the school, and he did not know the environment of the school, and he came, and when he saw that the son of a priest and the son of a Maulvi sitting together, wearing sacred thread and skull cap together, he could not digest it, he did not accept it, and that is why he asked the one boy like Mr. Kalam to sit on the back bench. Mr. Kalam was not going to follow him, he was not going to obey him, but somehow he went onto the last bench to sit. When Mr. Sastry saw this all episode, he became very happy. There were tears into his eyes, and it cast a very indelible imprint on him. And you know what happened? Later, when the children went back to their houses, they complained to their respective parents about the same. After school, we went home and told our respective parents about this incident. Lakshmana Sastry summoned the teacher, and in our presence told the teacher that he should not spread the poison of social inequality and communal intolerance in the minds of innocent children. He bluntly asked the teacher to either apologize or quit the school and the island. Not only did the teacher regret his behavior, but the strong sense of conviction Lakshmana Sastry conveyed ultimately reformed his young teacher. Next day, the parents came, and they asked the teacher, they called the teacher. The teacher came, and they gave a very strict suggestion that whether you apologize for your mistake or simply leave the school. The preaching which you are giving, this is not the preaching, this is not the school. These are the innocent children. And the poison which you are feeling in the minds of the children, it will have a very devastating impact. It will have a very devastating impact. So better you apologize or simply go away from the school. You know what happened? The impact was very large on the brain of this fellow. It was very strong. The message was very strong. And this teacher regretted, and he changed his behavior. And from next onwards, he did not do so, and he has taught the children in a very proper way as it was there earlier. On the whole, the small society of Rameswaram was very rigid in terms of segregation of different social groups. However, my science teacher, Shiva Subramanian Iyer, though an orthodox Brahmin with a very conservative wife, was something of a rebel. He did his best to break social barriers so that people from varying backgrounds could mingle easily. He used to spend hours with me and would say, Kalam, I want you to develop so that you are on par with highly educated people of the big cities. See, the place where he was living, like there was some kind of orthodoxy. The peoples were like, there were some people who still were practicing some kind of segregation, some kind of casteism. That people from high caste, Hindu Brahmins, they were not easily accepting the Muslims into their family. And such was the case with Mr. Shiva Subramaniam. He was a science teacher. His wife was a very orthodox lady. When Mr. Shiva Subramaniam called him, invited him on a feast, on a dawat at his home, this fellow came. And when he saw that the Muslim fellow is in kitchen, that is purely ritual, she didn't digest it. Though he ate the food, but it was a different kind of experiences. The wife of Mr. Shiva Subramaniam was watching the way Mr. Kalam was eating food, he was washing his hands, how he was drinking water. These all things was very much minutely observed by this lady, and it has very negative impact on this child, Mr. Kalam. But you know, when he stood up for going, when he stood up for parting the ways, Mr. Science teacher, Mr. Shiva Subramaniam said, Beta, don't worry, next time come on the weekend. He looked into his eyes. Said, sir, what is this? I cannot come, sir, because your wife is not accepting me. He said, okay, I know you, but once you are determined, if you have willpower to change something, surely it will change. It may take time, but people like you can change. You are studying, you are very laborious, so you can change. You can do something. So this fellow said, okay, sir, I will come. And you know what happened? Like this fellow also came on the second day. You know, when second day he came, he saw that in his kitchen, in the kitchen of Mr. Science teacher, Shiva Subramaniam, this lady was serving the food with her own hands. So such was the impact of the science teacher. Such was the impact of education. Education empowers you. If you will be educated, you will be somewhat broadly minded. Like you will be able to see the things in a very rational way. You will not be irrational. Everybody has the same blood. Everybody is born in the same way. Like everybody, if you are somebody suffering from cough, or somebody suffering from fever or any kind of ailment, the same kind of treatment is given to him. So why? Blood is the color of the blood is red of all the people. So why this kind of segregation? Why this kind of discrimination? Why this kinds of differences? It was the suggestion. It was the message of Mr. Siva Subramaniam Iyer, and it had a very strong impact on the mind of this man, Mr. Kalam. Okay. Whatever I told you is I'm going to read out the paragraph. The things is the same thing is written out here. One day he invited me to his home for a meal. His wife was horrified at the idea of a Muslim being invited to dine in her ritually pure kitchen. I just told you, like she was considering her kitchen as very ritually pure. It was pure by rituals. Tantra mantra, like so many things, swaha or something. No, like so many mantras, there's chants while doing puja. So before cooking food, she used to do all kind of practices. And when a fellow from different caste and community went there, she thought that it is going to be defiled. It is going to be impure. It was the thinking of that lady. She refused to serve me in her kitchen. Siva Subramaniam Iyer was not perturbed, nor did he get angry with his wife, but instead served me with his own hands and sat down beside me to eat his meal. His wife watched us from behind the kitchen door. I wondered whether she had observed any difference in the way I ate rice, drank water, or cleaned up the floor after the meal. When I was leaving his house, Siva Subramaniam Iyer invited me to join him for dinner again the next weekend. Observing my hesitation, he told me not to get upset, saying, once you decide to change the system, such problems have to be confronted. When I visited his house the next week, Siva Subramaniam Iyer's wife took me inside her kitchen and served me food with her own hands. See, this is what I told you. Once you are determined, once you have very strong willpower to change something for a right cause, things are supposed to be confronted. Things will come. People will come. They will resist you. They will disturb you. But if you are on the right, if you are on the right mission, surely ultimately you will succeed. Then the Second World War was over and India's freedom was imminent. Indians will build their own India, declared Gandhiji. After that, Second World War ended. It ended in 1945. Gandhiji said that India will build their own India. Like in 1945, we started so many, struggles, movement. Like you know very well that Quit India movement got started in 1942. 1942. So from 1942 till 1947, we struggled a lot, and finally we got our independence in 1947. The whole country was filled with unprecedented optimism. I asked my father for permission to leave Rameswaram and study at the